Today I will be reviewing this Ikea Fredde workstation desk after having owned and used it now for over 3 years. Coming up, roll the intro. Hey name tags and welcome, this is Ash from In My Tech, helping you go from newbie to techie. Now, a couple of disclaimers before we start. This video is not sponsored. I've bought this desk 3 years ago with my own money, nor is it influenced by anyone's decision to make this video. And also, this video is based on my personal opinion on my current needs for what I do. So the pros and cons that I'm going to be talking about will vary according to your own specific needs. So do your own research, both the good and the bad. Okay, so this desk cost me £150, about $229, and delivery might be an issue if you have a small car. So you're looking at around £35 of delivery. It will vary depending where you are from Ikea. And also, if you are not good with assembling, you might need to pay someone, which might cost you about £25. So the absolute cost, if you are going to get it delivered and getting someone to assemble for you, will be about £200 or about $275 US. The assembly video, unfortunately, I don't have because when I did that 3 years ago, I wasn't doing much content back then. But if you're used to assemble Ikea stuff, it's pretty standard. I was able to do it myself. It took me roughly about 2 hours, but I would advise if you can get an extra pair of hands, it would help, especially in some parts of it. Okay, so the size, the minimum width says 140 centimeter. And maximum width is 185, and that's because of these two added shelves that you can put on each end. Depth of this is 74 centimeter, and we have a height of 146 centimeter. Now these shelves that I talked about earlier, you can actually also put them inside, but in my case, as you can see, I've got 3 monitors, so it's taking up space, so I've put it outside. The top shelf currently is housing a 40-inch LCD TV with only some side space for anything you want really. Under the top shelf, there are 4 hooks, which are really too big to put your keys on there, so it could be used for headphones or the cable routing, I guess. Ikea says that if you take this top shelf, you can actually fit a 32-inch computer monitor or TV. So I haven't done that, but that's up to you. But I think you can actually fit a lot bigger than that. There are some high side panels to help block sunlight and prevent distracting glare on your computer monitor. However, for me, they sometimes make quite some rattling noise, which is very annoying for people like myself who are very noise sensitive or who need silence when content creating. There are 4 holes on the desk, 2 at the back and 2 in front. The back ones are for cable pass-through or management, and the front 2 are for included cup holders. I don't really use it to put drinks, I just use it to put USB keys or anything else like screws or even coins sometimes. Now the main monitor shelf is 140 cm by 28 cm and it's elevated to an inner height of 8.5 cm, which is great for eye level monitoring, with the metal outer height around 6 cm to slide things through underneath. As you can see, it holds my 3 BenQ 22-inch monitor screens, but the outer monitors come out a little bit of a slight sore eye, but not a deal breaker. However, this is my first big gripe with this desk. It's this main monitor shelf here. The space underneath is too low, and I cannot remember how this was assembled, as I probably did follow the instructions as close as possible, so I would have assembled this shelf at this height, but this potentially could be readjusted as there are holes for that. At this stage, I'm no longer bothered to find out. I could potentially, go back and try to disassemble parts of it and put it back, but I'm not bothered. So if you're going to assemble this, do think ahead and see if you would need a much higher height here. Back then when I did that, I only had a small desktop computer and only 1 screen, so it wasn't really an issue. The main desktop shelf has a cutout to accommodate sitting a lot closer to the monitor, but for the monitor size that I have, it's not really an issue even if I did sit a bit further away, and that would give an approximate area of 132 cm by 45 cm less the cutout bit. However, for my size, I found that the elbow resting element is not that comfortable, a little bit too wide for my liking, but that's for when typing on the keyboard only. When using both the keyboard and mouse at the same time for things like gaming, it's slightly better, but I prefer to have my elbows flat touching something rather than in open air, so that's just a personal preference. Once you put the keyboard and mouse, there is very little space for anything else. I usually have at least an A4 pad for note taking and maybe a ring binder file open as well, and it's not comfortable to use all these together. I find myself having to write sideways, which is a problem for me. Other times I used to try to do small repairs or even putting a small laptop on the desk, but it's not very comfortable for those purposes. I even had a mixer here, but that didn't work very well neither, and this space under the monitor shelf is a waste of design in my opinion, as the height is too small to put things under. You can slide the keyboard and mouse underneath if you're not using the computer and monitor, I guess, and that creates space for studying. But if you're like me, I study a lot on the computer and I do need to take notes, so this is really a no-brainer, and this is my second biggest gripe with this workstation. I would have preferred to have an option to mount a sliding tray for the keyboard and mouse underneath here, but unfortunately there is no pre-cut or holes for that. It would take some DIY, and then you might have an issue with leg room and height here. At the bottom you have an open space and two shelves measuring 48cm by 25cm. This is an issue if you're considering mid to full desktop towers like this fractal design R5 Black. I can barely fit it here, and the back ports and top front panels are difficult to access and to hook certain types of USB or headphone jacks. This one is barely fitting. For smaller computer cases, it should be fine. Another issue is the shelf probably will not hold the total weight of this desktop case, for example. As you can see, I had to put a temporary, very eyesore leg screwed onto this ugly looking MDF board to help with supporting the weight, as I am sure it would break as it's only being held by screws on two sides only. On the other side, I currently have my printer, but it's an awkward positioning and orientation. Of course, there is no way I can fit that printer onto the main desk, monitor shelf or top shelf in my configuration. If you only have one monitor, one printer would fit here perfect, or even on top without something like this TV here. And of course, my very ugly cable management. And this is my third biggest gripe here. The lack of panels and cable management options. Ikea is well known for its modularity features. With some sweat, imagination, but more importantly time, I'm sure I can come up with some DIY options to fit more of the tools I need for my content creation needs. But time is the biggest factor here. And lastly, there are no drawers or no under units, so no extra storage whatsoever. I would have preferred some panels to be able to route all my cables behind there, so some sort of cable management would have been good with that. Now, for the future, I would personally stick to a more clean, square, modular design from Ikea. Compare this with this much smaller desk from Ikea, which I think costs only about £60. I'll put the link below for the actual name of this. It's simple, effective, and I can actually DIY it easily, with the inclusion of two drawers and a cupboard unit and even a cable management under the desk. Is a great option for £60, and it feels like I actually do a lot more work on this one. Of course, you can't put 3 screens and a 40-inch TV here, but maybe 2 screens or a 32-inch TV or monitor and a smaller form factor desktop. And with this desktop, I can actually place it flat on the carpet because it hasn't got any ventilation at the bottom. With my other desktop, because there are bottom ventilation system for drawing air in, I didn't want to put it flat on the carpet, so I had to use the shelf. So in the future, I would probably want to sell off this workstation to get myself a more square, simple design with modular functions, so I can actually add on as I go along. However, there are some good features about this workstation. I mean, the black sleek design is really nice. It's a universal appeal. It's very solid, very sturdy, and quite stable on the carpet, and it looks like it will be quite durable for a very long time. It might even outlive you if you look after it. So all in all, it's quite good value for money, and like I mentioned before, if you only have minimum computer needs, it should be quite fine. And the bad points for this, I think it has a very deceptive design for maximum real estate potential for content creation or other multi-workstation tasks like what I do. And again, this is my opinion in my current situation, so maybe I think I've outgrown it. It doesn't fit my needs anymore. And the other bad point is the lack of modular options, for which Ikea is very well known. So this was my personal opinion and my review of this desktop. If you do want to buy this, do your research, try it out, and ask other people. I do recommend it for quite a lot of people, but if you're considering content creation like myself, and if you have a lot more needs and a lot more tools, you should look at something more traditional or even DIY one from scratch. Okay guys, thank you so much for watching. I don't normally do these kind of reviews. I thought I'd start with reviewing anything I own which is to do with my tech work. So if you like this kind of review, let me know in the comments below and we'll do more of that. I am not very good with doing these kind of reviews, obviously, and like I said, it's not a sponsored video, but I would want to finish all the things I actually own before moving on to having sponsored content. So I'm not really biased with the reviews I'm going to give you. Once again guys, thank you so much for watching. You know what to do down below. Leave me a like, comment, share this vid, and subscribe if you haven't done so yet. As always, this was a pleasure. This was Ash from Heal My Tech, helping you go from newbie to techie. Until next time, peace out.